Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. I am Mark Storrs, and with me as always is...
I am Chris.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank you all so very much for joining us. Robert, Patreon is a thing that we offer.
In fact, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
$1 a month is a shout out, and you get one bonus audio. The $5 is no more than 4 bonus audios and a shout out, and they both get access to our Discord.
Hot diggity.
I can't believe it.
I mean, it's the deal of the century. If
It
you think
really
about
might
it.
be. I
It
mean,
could
what
be.
the fuck? Are we mad? Are we mad allowing this to happen?
Is
Yeah.
this a crazy Eddie blowout sale?
Yeah,
Is
no
that what
doubt.
you're
It's
saying?
the first thing I thought of. WPIX in my misspent youth. Yeah, no doubt.
Exactly. But thank you all to everyone that supports us. Robert, we got some shout outs. Good sir, let's do them.
Fucking A, right. Let's do them. Let's begin with Haley Dow.
Hell yeah, Haley. Thank you so much.
Felipe.
Felipe, hell yeah.
Hey.
Fuck yeah.
Kimberella.
Kimberella, I love it.
Sci-fi star extraordinaire.
Love it.
Megan May.
Oh, Megan, thank you so much.
Thomas Byer.
Yeah, Thomas.
Dana Bruce.
Dana Bruce, she has the photo from the gym where she's rocking Our Goblins Are Real, and she was saying that she had her gym members fucking listening to
Oh,
us.
shit.
Fucking sweet.
Word of mouth in the gym.
Dana, thank you.
3 dudes that probably need to go to the gym.
I wonder how hard you work out while listening to fucking Walking Pants.
Yeah, hey, it keeps you fucking engaged.
Dude, if you're
man.
going to pump
meal.
iron, you do it to us.
Exactly. There
That's
you
the
go.
only way. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you so much.
John Lists.
Hell yeah, John.
Angus Dodson.
Angus, thank you so much.
Penelope Code.
Yeah, Penelope.
Meg and Stephen or Stefan. I'm going to go with Stephen this time. Meg and Stephen Blasi.
Thank you so very much. A couple. How nice is that?
It's so sweet.
I love that.
I hope it's like a thing you do. I hope there's some candles. I hope there's some wine or bourbon or whatever you want. If you're teetotalers, I'm not here to judge. I'm judging you, but whatever.
Whatever.
Judgment.
But whatever you're doing, I like to think that we're part of it, and God bless you.
Hell yeah. Thank you all for your continued Patreon support. We appreciate it. I got a little shout out here myself to a listener. Are you ready for this?
I'm stoked.
All right, cool. Matt Felicio, thank you so much for listening, good sir. Just so happens to be my neighbor's brother. So
Oh, shit.
Dope.
fucking awesome. So thank you. And you know what? When you're in the neighborhood, dude, stop by and we'll see what's up.
Oh, man, look at that.
Talk about some aliens,
Snap.
drink some beers. There you go.
Yeah, man. I'd like to be invited, too. Don't make it all about Mark.
I
just
mean,
'cause-
I have parties at my house.
Yeah.
So if you guys come
not that
over and
we're
my
ever
neighbors come
invited,
over,
whatever.
there's been a pandemic.
Yeah, all right. So that's
I mean,
part of the problem.
Chris literally almost died.
3 times.
4.
Yeah.
He's on 5 right now.
He is.
Exactly.
Surviving Sid's hardcore.
So when Matt comes over to hang out, and we're all hanging out, we'll hang out together, we'll drink beers and have fun.
I look forward
Okay.
to it.
Excellent. There it is. This week, holy shit, we are going to a story that we attempted at one point.
Many a moon ago.
And I think me and Chris just left.
No, you guys broke. You got broke.
We're like, we can't do this.
This
So-
was within literally the first few months of us beginning the podcast, and I format in a certain way. And what I didn't realize is that my spacing had changed, and it was literally 3 times the length of our normal pod.
Yeah.
And when we were about 2/3 of the way through, you guys had been nodding out. You're just staring at me. And then Chris is finally just openly like critiquing the story while we're doing it. He's like, isn't this going to end? Did it end? Did it end and you didn't tell me? And we're all fucked up and weird. And finally, when it was all said and done, we're like, oh shit, yeah, nope. But it is one of my absolute fucking favorites. And I know I say it a lot, but literally in abduction lore, there are few that rank higher than this in my heart. So I'm glad to finally be tackling it in bite-sized hunks.
Yes.
This will
Yep.
be a 2, maybe 3-parter. We don't know yet.
We'll see where it goes.
We always play it by ear. And now, after so many moons, we're bringing back Mark, if you will.
We are talking about the Zanfretta Abductions, Part 1. The Nightwatchman.
He watches at
Oh,
night.
shit.
Those familiar with ufological lore will no doubt know the name because it is
100%.
fucking just the kitty's titties. But if you're not familiar, be prepared. This isn't any of that bullshit, gray bullshit fucking shit that I hate.
Whoa.
We all know how I feel about the Greys.
We get it.
But
it's
this is
cool.
some really extraordinary, old-timey, late 70s extraterrestrial mayhem, and I am super duper stoked.
All right, well, let's get started with in the frigid winter of 1978, an unsuspecting security guard was ripped from the normalcy of his heretofore comfortable life as a father, husband, and breadwinner when he had a series of all too close encounters with a race of bulky green behemoths. In what's become Italy's most infamous alien abduction, and what some claim may be the best documented extraterrestrial events in European history.
Facts and science.
Wow.
We're going to Italy, boys.
We're going to Italy.
I'm there.
Where I will brutally
there.
mispronounce everything.
Let's put that up front. We will mispronounce names.
All the names.
It's what we do.
All the places.
Exactly.
All the territories and provinces. They're all fucked. And I'm going to try not to mispronounce this, but I do want to give a special shout out to Reno DiStefano. He is a reporter who was first on the scene. We'll be discussing him at length in this and the other parts, covering the case. And he wrote the book about it that is the story. And it's called The Zanfretta Case, Chronicle of an Incredible True Story. And he was kind enough some years ago to send me the first international English edition.
Oh, nice. Cool.
So thank you, Reno, for that, because there's information online, and I've discovered that with a lot of translation, I was able to write our initial article, which had some mistakes and some truisms back in the American Monster days is when I wrote it. But having had the book, that really allowed me to kind of buckle down and try to get it as correct as possible. So couldn't have done it without him. So thank you so much, Reno, for sending it. And for anyone that finds himself fascinated by this, as I'm sure every fucking buddy will, because it's an amazing case, check out the book. It's called The Zanfretta Case.
Yeah, definitely.
Straightforward, simple, and great.
I will put a link in the description of this podcast to that book. So you can check it out.
Without further ado, you boys ready to get nestled?
I'm ready to nestle.
Let's nestle.
All right, let's do this. Nestled in the northeastern portion of Italy, not far from the stunning Mediterranean coastline, is the tiny municipality of Marzano di Torriglia. Renowned among foodies for a small, six-pointed, sugar-powdered pastry known as the canestrelletto. I've never had one, but it sounds delightful.
Sounds good, yeah.
The region is also known as being the UFO capital of Italy due to the many flying saucer sightings, as well as an alarming series of events that befell one of its decidedly unfortunate citizens during the late 1970s and early 80s. Disco. Disco is what befell him.
Oh, for sure. I was made for loving you.
Hey, listen, I stand by that song.
Oh,
okay?
disco, yeah. The darkest part of disco.
Whatever.
The incidents, which would forever change the European ufological landscape, kicked off on the moonless winter night of December 6th, 1978. At about 11:30 p.m. on the evening in question, a 26-year-old night watchman, husband, and father of two, Fortunato Zanfretta, had just slipped through the Bargagli Tunnel near Scofera Pass and was negotiating the treacherous, ice-covered roads in his patrol car while making his nightly rounds through the darkened village of Torriglia. So we got a night watchman. He's doing the drive. He's doing the slow cruise to protect the people.
You gotta keep your eyes open and I didn't know that it was snowing in Italy.
Oh, it snows, yeah, especially in northern Italy. I mean, not southern. I mean, but all of Italy is not Sicily, buddy. So
That's where my people are from, sorry.
Oh, so the rest of it doesn't exist. Wow.
Yeah.
A short, thick-set fellow with a shock of curly black hair, Zanfretta was a no-nonsense family man who was proud of his work and content with his life. His peers knew him to be diligent, reliable, and even courageous in discharging their, at times, dangerous duties. Zanfretta was neither frivolous nor particularly imaginative and had never expressed any interest whatsoever in the paranormal, which is why, as he made his way down the dangerous, winding, fog-shrouded expanse of State Road 45, he could never have suspected that within the hour, reality as he knew it would be fundamentally and forever changed.
Dun, dun, dun.
There it is.
Suspense.
Ha! Employed by a private security firm known as, I shit you the fuck not, the Institute of Vigilance.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not fucking sus or anything.
how are we not in that Merc group?
Oh my God, you know they're doing dark deeds.
Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny that I am or am not
Oh,
There it is.
no.
in what we call the IOV.
Oh, man. We all thought Chris was drinking in the woods. He wasn't. He was out on a fucking
I'm
mission.
just saying.
He was on a special IOV mission. Yeah, they're keeping us safe. I like
You
it.
just think out of nowhere that I'm drinking in the woods? That's all I'm going to say.
That's stupid. We're stupid.
Except that he was totally fucking drinking in the woods.
There are no headquarters there. Don't worry.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
No,
All
keep
right.
going. Don't worry about it.
The Watchman's date with destiny began outside the isolated and seasonally unoccupied country villa of dentist Dr. Ettore Righi. Zanfretta was nearing the empty house when, without warning, the engine, radio, and lights of his vehicle all simultaneously and inexplicably died. Classic. Fucking alien bullshit right
Yeah,
there.
man.
The security guard managed to wrangle the inert auto to the side of the road, not far from the lavish two-story stucco villa, and that's when he noticed 4 lights moving around in the garden behind the client's home. Instantly on high alert, he also noted that the gate had been flung wide and the villa's door hung open. All telltale signs. You don't have to be a fucking crime-fighting pro to know. That's problematic.
You got to get your
Yeah, for sure.
sidearm. I'm not saying pull it. I'm just saying put your hand on it. Get your hand on your gun.
Be at the ready.
Just be at the
You're saying
ready.
be at the ready.
Wait to see what happens. Don't jump the gun, but
You don't want to be overeager. You're right. But you want to be motherfucking prepared.
vigilance.
Institute of.
There you go.
Assuming that the brilliant beams were emanating from the flashlights of would-be burglars, Zanfretta tried to radio into headquarters using the call sign Kangaroo from 68.
Yeah.
Come in, Kangaroo.
That's dope. Kangaroo, we got Wallaby Baby here, 68.
Oh, my God.
Dude, what if it was 69?
Red Ruff Lemur. Red Ruff Lemur.
Dude, 69
Yeah, really.
420 Wallaby.
Oh, there it is.
That's my fucking new screen name.
But there was no response.
Oh.
Evidently, the two-way radio was just as dead as the car it was installed in. Despite the lack of backup, the sentry steeled his resolve and silently slipped out of the car. Thus committed to protecting his client's home, Zanfretta gripped his flashlight, removed his revolver from its holster, and began creeping towards the villa. This would not be the first time he had gone toe-to-toe with the criminal element. And though cautious, Zanfretta was not unduly anxious. In fact, his friends claimed that he had shown nerves of iron in such situations. Of course, everyone has a breaking point.
Not Zanfretta, though.
No, he does. He absolutely fucking
Well,
does.
shit. All right.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, well, no,
He broke.
There it is.
See you next week.
He's busticated.
He's done, and good night.
Sagely, the young sentry kept his flashlight off so as not to warn the intruders of his presence as he quietly slipped through the swinging gate and crept along the decaying rock wall in an effort to get a jump on the trespassers. The guard paused when he got to the edge of the wall, bracing himself for what was to come. His resolve set, Zanfretta flicked on his flashlight, but just as he was preparing to jump around the corner to confront the backyard interlopers, he felt something shove his shoulder from behind.
Oh, shit.
Startled, he spun around, revolver at the ready. But instead of finding common criminals caught in his flashlight's beam, he saw the rippling, fleshy torsos of 3 colossal creatures.
Not,
Titans.
dude, exactly. Yeah, not what you want to see.
No. I mean, bad enough. You expect your outmanned, 4-1.
Right.
They might have guns. They know how to open a gate, and they're bearing flashlights. You don't know what's going on, young punks.
Yeah.
Young
Yeah.
punks.
Right.
Yeah.
Full-on, well-organized fucking villains that are there to, steal the fucking garden goods.
Maybe piss in the pool or something.
Eat
who
a
knows?
carrot. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, there you go. Eat a carrot.
Yep. Steal veggies.
As the youth want to do.
Yeah, I don't know what Ricky's Garden's got going on,
Yeah.
but who knows?
Peppers, probably.
Peppers,
Yeah,
no
definitely.
doubt. But
All
it's
right.
the off season, so maybe everything's lying fallow. The point is, he's outnumbered, and what he's not expecting are fucking 3
Torsos.
Enormous creatures.
there it
Fleshy
is.
torsos.
Fleshy torsos.
Fleshy torsos.
Colossal fleshy torsos.
The confused night watchman couldn't fully comprehend what he was looking at until he tilted the beam upward, revealing 3 hideous faces staring down at him with jaundiced eyes.
Oh, boy.
It would be at that moment when this usually decisive and courageous man felt his pre-constructed notions of reality literally shattering around him. According to Zanfretta, the trio of titanic terrors that loomed above him were in excess of, and get this, 9 fucking feet tall,
Jesus, that is huge.
I don't get it.
That's enormous.
and were, to his eyes at least, appallingly ugly.
Judgmental, but okay.
A little judgy, yeah. But it's his opinion. The Night Watchman would testify that these things had an epidermis of loose-lobed, grayish-green skin covering their bodies. Skin which seemed to undulate unnaturally over their musculature, almost as if it was encased within a translucent, sentient tunic.
Okay, these things are fucked. They're gross.
They're grubby.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing
he
about
was
this
right.
is-
I was wrong.
It gets
Yeah.
right back to fucking the fucking walking pants.
I was gonna say we're just
When they had like the
Weird
flowy
skin. Yeah.
extra skin on the skin,
Yeah, I
like
don't
the
like
living skin symbiote that lives on your normal skin, body skin.
right,
Normal skin, body
which
skin.
is clothes made out of skin and over your skin that's undulating.
It's like a triple alien Ed Gein.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's worst shit ever.
Right on. Absolutely. The inhuman faces glaring down at him looked somewhat reptilian, punctuated by a pair of triangular yellow eyes that sloped downward, creating an impression of menace. Pulsating bright red veins stretched across their foreheads, and 3 downward pointing horns, or thorns as Zanfretta called them, jutted out from either side of their heavily wrinkled pyramidal heads. And by pyramidal, I mean it's wide at the bottom, tapers at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've got these 3 dangly things off the side that have the thorns or horns.
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
an illustration. There's plenty of illustrations online. No doubt one will be accompanying this.
Oh, for sure.
So people will be able to get a clearer image.
It almost sounds demonic, but
Oh, it definitely does.
it's my take.
But it doesn't have to be just
true.
because, it's ugly by our standards.
True.
The Night Watchman also noted that these mammoth monstrosities had ears that terminated into sharp points at the tips, and knolls of rubbery flesh piled up on the flanks of their necks, which to him resembled a series of fish-like gills.
Oh, they got gross necks too.
So they got loby, fat necks.
Oh.
Probably not
Okay.
gills, maybe gills. I don't know. Maybe air gills. Maybe their kind breathes air that way. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. I mean-
sure.
Again, don't want to judge, but I'm judging.
And Vulcan ears. Standard alien.
All right. Oh, these things are gross.
The weirdness did not end there, however, as the Watchman also described a unique mechanical apparatus that fit over their wide mouths and extended around their faces, which looked like a network of iron rods and metallic mesh covering a luminous yellow orb that grew brighter whenever one of the creatures spoke in what sounded like a horrible mechanized garble.
Like a breath weapon. Just kind of in there,
Breath.
kicking around.
No, it is.
You think it's more like a Vader type situation?
Yeah, like I don't know, just something's in there.
So
A translator, perhaps.
it looks like this really techie, fucked up, like pair of braces, external braces,
Right.
over like a.
I was like a
luminous
Bane situation.
bulb. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
More
all
like a
right.
Bane situation. I think Chris is right with the Vader thing. I know he is because we can go ahead.
Okay.
Good guess on the translator. That's not how
Could
this
be.
works. It gets weird on that front.
Okay.
And it will get weirder in
Yeah, 'cause
consecutive parts.
Didn't Geordie LaForge?
Geordie LaForge,
Yeah, he had
Star
the
Trek
eye
Next
thing.
Gen.
He got the mouth.
No,
thing.
he had a banana clip
Yeah.
gently painted over his eyes so he could see things.
Hey, now these things got these so they can talk.
Sort of like that. Yeah.
Facts.
There it is.
Science.
What's interesting to me, though, and of course this is the obligatory Dune reference, is that when they talk about the way their voice sounds, I can't help but think of the Spice Guild navigators when they're
Oh,
talking
God.
to the old-timey microphone when they're talking
Yeah.
to Emperor
Oh, for sure.
Shaddam.
Dude, they have the worst procession ever.
Oh.
They take forever to get in, and they're just like, brr, 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 brr. They fucking
Yeah, they cross space time, but they take 40 minutes
seriously.
walk
just
into
to
a fucking
enter the
room.
palace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my God.
It's like, okay, the movie's half over, and we haven't even.
Oh,
This
come
is still
on.
the beginning.
You think the emperor would be like, I'm busy.
You know,
Hurry up.
Shaddam IV doesn't have time for that shit, but he needs the spice. Everybody needs the spice. So you can't fuck around with the guild navigators.
Yeah, I don't like what they did to House Atreides. Anyway, different pod.
There it is. It was then that Zanfretta glanced down and noticed their uncannily long digits, each of which terminated in long rounded nails with slightly indented tips that resembled spoons.
Oh, they got little coke,
Spoon
they got
hands.
they
Little
got
Coke spoon nails.
Spoon
little
hands.
they got little coke fingers.
They're totally.
I mean, it was
they rock at
disco,
every
right?
party.
It was a
Oh,
thing.
it was totally disco.
Yeah, it's coke everywhere.
The guard took all of these mind-boggling features in a matter of seconds and was so startled by the sight before him that he dropped his flashlight, plunging himself and the beast towering over him into total darkness. Mercifully, instinct kicked in and he managed to lunge down, snatch it up, and dash away from the scene, racing in a blind panic toward his malfunctioning vehicle. As he ran, Zanfretta shot a glance over his shoulder and was no doubt relieved that the bizarre brutes were not in pursuit. But his ordeal wasn't over yet, as right before his eyes, a monolithic triangular craft rose up from behind the Riggy residence with a hydraulic hiss. So he's running, and then suddenly the big triangle.
Okay.
Not good.
There it is.
Not good.
The massive metallic ship was even bigger than the house it flew over, and the distraught guard shielded his eyes with his arm as a series of brilliant, multicolored lights burst to life beneath the trilateral UFO, nearly blinding him with their radiance as they slowly coasted over his head. It was at this point that the caretaker was blasted with a searing wave of heat. The startled sentry collapsed onto the road, where he managed to drag himself back to his car, open the door, and unhook the handset of a CB radio. Carlo Tocolino was the dispatcher on duty at the Institute of Vigilance's Center of Operations in nearby Genoa. The chilly eve had proceeded uneventfully until precisely 12:15 a.m. when the radio erupted in a burst of static and the stunned operator received Zanfretta's rambling, panicky call. Tocolino later claimed that what little he could make of his coworker's incoherent babbling led him to believe that Zanfretta was under attack. Concerned, he asked him to describe the men who had assaulted him, but his comrade's shocking response was, "No, they aren't men. They aren't men. My God, they are ugly."
Wow.
I mean,
Again, a little judgy, but he has every right to be terrified at this point.
he's not wrong. And I mean, if you're the other guy, if you're Tocolino on the end of this thing, what do? You know?
Well,
Send in the Air Force.
yeah. I mean,
Call the Army.
call officials.
Yeah, but we are the officials. We need bigger officials. We need to go up the ladder. Marines. The
Pope?
The Pope.
Yeah, the Vatican.
Call Vatican City.
The Swiss Guard.
The gendarme.
The Swiss Guard.
The Swiss Guard.
The Vatican. They have jets and shit,
They
right?
got
that was
secret demon
in a
forces.
that was in a comic book.
There is no Vatican Air Force.
It was in a
that we
comic
know
book.
of.
Yeah, be cool if they had one though. But
But they do
don't.
have poofy uniforms and
Yeah.
spears.
Yeah. and-
Listen,
oh,
every enemy knows that there's a secret demon force in the Vatican.
That's
There's
true.
warrior
Yeah.
nuns and fucking all
There-
kinds of shit.
There you go.
Operation Pitchfork.
There it is.
And
Vampire
again,
priests, half
Show up.
vampire priests.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before Tocolino could respond, communications were abruptly broken off, and the dispatcher immediately contacted the chief of the security service, Lieutenant Giovanni Casiba. So not the Vatican, Lieutenant Casiba.
Casiba's on the scene, baby.
Casiba, concerned with both the welfare of his man as well as his client's property, swiftly sent out another patrol to serve as backup and find out what the hell was going on. Due to the icy condition of the roads, it took the second patrol almost an hour to reach the site.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, I know. It was 1:15 a.m. when Nightwatchman Walter Luna and Raimundo Macia discovered their young cohort not by his car where they might have expected, but lying prone on the frozen ground directly in front of the Riggy residence. Had someone or something dragged him back toward the house, or had he crawled there of his own accord? They had no way of knowing. As they approached Zanfretta, he abruptly leapt to his feet, eyes glazed with fear. He aimed both his pistol and his flashlight at his cohorts, his mind trapped in the miasma of panic and terror.
Oh man.
He's out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not safe.
No
he's
way.
not. He's not making his coworkers comfortable. There's HR is going to be called.
There might be a memo.
Oh, just definitely.
There's going to be an email in one of those meetings where it's like, guys, we got to talk. And you're
Yeah.
like, man, fuck him, dude.
This wasn't cool. Luna and Macia were shocked by their friend's dangerous and irrational behavior and shouted at him to lower his weapon. This frenzied figure before them was nothing like the usually shy, rational, and decidedly lucid family man who they had known for years. They implored their comrade to think of his children and not to do anything rash, but his nearly incomprehensible raving continued.
Oh, so he's out of his mind completely.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
fucking out.
Well, I know we've been reading this, but this is like all happening fairly quickly. I'm assuming, like if it played out in real time.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
This happened. He does
yeah.
the thing. He sees the thing. He's all fucked up, and they show up. Like this is the intro to like a Resident Evil game. Like you know what I
you're
mean?
right.
It's
Yeah,
like
this is the cold open
Yeah.
that plays. This is the
Yeah.
cutscene or whatever.
Man.
Fearing for their lives, the Watchmen rushed Zanfretta and thankfully managed to disarm him before there were any unintentional casualties. The pair later testified that they were shocked to discover how warm their cohort's clothes were, despite the fact that he had apparently been laying on the frozen ground for over an hour. Toasty clothes.
Weird.
This event was so disturbing that the Italian military police, the Carabinieri, I think I'm saying it right, were immediately dispatched to the area in order to investigate. While trying to figure out what had transpired at Dr. Riggy's country home, both before and after the arrival of Zanfretta, officials stumbled across two distinct marks in the frost-smothered grass right beneath where Zanfretta's prone form had been discovered nearly an hour before. These immense imprints, which some have speculated may have been created by the triangular UFO's landing gear, were measured to be 9 feet in diameter and were semicircular in shape, somewhat resembling a gargantuan horseshoe. Intriguingly, another 7-foot semicircular impression was found not far from the Riggy home next to a house dubbed Casa Nostra, where other eyewitnesses claimed to have seen bizarre lights in the night sky. When police investigated, they found that the door had been ripped off its hinges, severely damaging the wall. Weirder still was the fact that while valuables like a color TV remained untouched, the only thing that had been stolen were a pair of taxidermically preserved birds.
Interesting thing to steal.
Yeah.
I mean, not if you're a
ripping the
fan.
door. Well, true. Ripping the door off the hinges seems a little intense.
And badly. Like, apparently there was a gouge above the door, like a couple feet high.
I mean, if you're fucking the wall up, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly,
Well, I mean-
all right, well.
So, here, I'll keep reading. Neither Zanfretta nor the Institute of Vigilance were directly involved in this case, but it would prove to be part of the same bizarre extraterrestrial pattern. But more on that later. Despite the fantastic content of Zanfretta's report, his boss and the commandant of the Torriglia station, Antonio Nucci, stated unequivocally that he believed in the veracity of his employee's extraordinary testimony. When asked his opinion on the mental stability of his professional sentry, Nucci responded, quote, "I can state with certainty that he is a clear-thinking man with no strange fantasies in his head. When we went to investigate the scene the next day, he almost didn't want to come. He was so scared. Only something exceptional could have frightened him so." Even Gianfranco Tutti, the director of the Institute of Vigilance, who was justifiably concerned about the negative publicity these events might have on his company, especially regarding the reliability of his employees, publicly stated that he believes Zanfretta to be an honest man. So he's getting, and this is pretty rare in the UFO world, the backup of his superiors.
Yeah.
And that's nice to see. I mean, he clearly earned it, but it's still nice to see. As unbelievable as the Watchman's account may have been, a shockingly large amount of corroboration was revealed when, during the course of their investigation, the officers of the military police interviewed no less than 52 citizens of Torriglia, all of whom claimed to have seen bright lights coming from the direction of the Riggy house at the exact same time Zanfretta testified to watching the triangular UFO fly over him.
Oh, shit.
So of the, say, 100 people they interviewed, 52 of them are like, yeah,
Saw some
there's
shit.
some shit.
So you've got, you got eyes in the ground now. People can claim, they can state for a fact, yeah, we all saw this. Oh, that's fucking weird.
It's interesting.
All
I
right.
mean, that's the part of the documentation that makes this case so significant. Many of the interviewees also admitted that the area was well known for visitations by anomalous airborne objects. So this isn't the first or last time the area had seen this shit. At this point, a local reporter named Rino DiStefano, he was shouted out earlier,
Nice.
sent us the book, who was working for the local Genoa paper Il Corriere Mercantile, entered the fray. DiStefano was intrigued by the Zanfretta case, which he had helped to break, despite the fact that his editor had been less than enthusiastic about the subject. Unlike most of his peers, DiStefano was intrigued by the sheer number of eyewitnesses and could not understand why a husband and father engaged in a respected profession would jeopardize both his career and reputation by concocting a tale as patently ludicrous and potentially humiliating as the one he told his superiors. So he took it upon himself to try to get to the bottom of this mystery. A one-man Fred Shaggy, Daphne, and Velma.
Yeah,
There,
really.
he's got his own mystery machine. He's out there fucking doing it.
He's doing it hard.
There you go. I love it.
To that end, the reporter interviewed everyone involved with the case, quickly coming to the conclusion that Until that fateful eve, Zanfretta was considered to be one of the most reliable men employed by the Institute of Vigilance. Even the man in charge of the military police, Brigadier Antonio Nucci, testified to Zanfretta's courage and character, telling DiStefano on December 11, 1978, quote, "I've known him for years, and I can assure you that he is a very decisive fellow who on various occasions has even had to shoot when necessary. So he's not the type of person who scares easily. I would say the exact opposite. He has always been someone who reflects on things. He never had strange thoughts in his head," end quote. It's pretty deep knowledge of a dude, but it's still...
Yeah,
it's
funny that everyone that vouches for this guy, they'll be like, yeah, he's stand-up guy, and then they'll say something like that last part. It's like,
yeah,
he never had strange thoughts. Some like weird little vague sentence like, he never thought of something different or strange.
Yeah, I know. That's what throws me off.
A couple of them are like that. I'm like, why would you add... that's just weird.
There was one about like he didn't have odd fantasies. Like, well, how do you know what's going on in his
you
head?
don't know what's
I'm
going
like,
on in his mind.
Yeah.
They might have a rich, deep fantasy life
could.
for all you know.
You don't know what he's into. Don't shame him.
It's so fucking funny, and maybe it's something that's lost in translation.
Probably-
Maybe they're just
it-
saying,
more
he's
than
not,
likely it is.
He's not
Yes.
a silly pants or whatever the fuck the right term
He's got
would
a silly
be.
pantalones. Is that what it is?
But still, it does come off as weird. It's like, you don't fucking know.
Right.
Like, he might not be talking, it might be 2 years after Star Wars, and maybe he's not getting all fucking the Force with you, but you don't know what's going on in his mind hole.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he's got some good recommendations here.
But apparently he is a man of integrity and obvious courage, though that courage is bound to fail you occasionally, especially when confronted with some weird-ass shit like this.
Yeah.
This assessment of Zanfretta's bravery made it all the weirder for Nucci when he escorted the now utterly terrified man back to the Riggi villa the following day, convincing the brigadier that something very real and truly terrible had occurred there the night before. But the inexplicable incidents in the area would not be limited to the night guard. At 4:25 a.m. on the morning of December 26, 1978, a 50-year-old truck driver by the name of Aldo Devoto was in the bedroom of his 7-year-old son Mario when the duo were suddenly awoken by a tremendous thud on the second-floor railing of his Genoa home. This was followed by an odd whooshing sound. The father was startled to see a blinding light piercing the blinds of the window, and when he looked outside, he was even more astounded to see a brightly glowing, small car-sized UFO with 4 pedestals at its base, slowly floating down the street approximately 16 to 20 feet above the pavement.
It's not Santa.
It's not Santa.
Could be.
Probably not Santa.
Probably.
I mean, 26th of December.
All right. It's the day after. I mean, Santa's running way late at this point.
Super late.
But you don't know. Although his son was weeping and he desperately wanted to capture a photo of the eerie object and comfort his boy, Devoto found that he was unable to move a muscle. His mother-in-law, Maria Cavanaro, was also on hand to confirm Devoto's strange account. With UFO encounters on the rise and Zanfretta unable to recall anything other than the admittedly extraordinary facts he had already reported, the public outcry for answers surrounding the case reached a fever pitch, and it was decided by his superiors at the Institute, with the encouragement of DiStefano, ufologist Lucio Boccone, I think I'm saying the name right, and paranormal author Alfredo Ferraro, that Zanfretta should undergo hypnotic regression in order to elucidate additional, preferably prosaic, information about his encounter and hopefully put the entire affair to rest.
We're going to hypnosis.
They're just hoping,
shit.
he'll go under hypnosis and they'll be like, oh, it's 3 deer and a Chinese lantern. It was nothing to worry about.
3 deer, always 3 deer.
Always
Chinese
3 deer.
lantern. There you go.
Constantly.
Disco ball, Coke. There it is.
Ha! During this session, much to the chagrin of his bosses and the delight of the parapsychologists on hand, Zanfretta, under the watchful eye of Lieutenant Casiba, not only confirmed his face-to-face confrontation with otherworldly entities on the Riggi property, but recalled the heretofore buried memory that these terrifying beings, in classic alien abduction fashion, had taken him aboard their craft against his will.
No, this is how it starts.
That's just how it always goes.
Nobody ever goes willingly.
No one's ever like, yeah.
This seems like a great idea.
This is awesome.
Cool.
He further claimed that the humongous hellspawn had deposited him into a location within their vessel that was illuminated with a sickly greenish glow that seemed to radiate an intense heat. Zanfretta noted that nearly every surface of the large room was covered in a chaotic array of control panels and technology being operated by the creatures who communicated through their metal mouth guards using the same brutal mechanized barks he had heard in the garden. So I can't help but see this as like something out of, I don't know, like Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock or something. Like, this is a Klingon ship with green light. It's all murky, and funky, like shitty built-up tech that isn't really clean. I mean, now I'm half making this up, I understand, but the way he described it is like chaotic control panels and stuff. It might be like sleek and well-organized by alien standards, but in my mind, it's just this fucking hot mess of tech and fucking green lights and fucking hot, and big reptilian.
It's like it sounds like a scummy TARDIS.
There it is.
Like, you're just like, there's like weird buttons and like horns and shit, and you're like, what does this thing do?
You almost want to see like slime and like swamp rot hanging from things.
Yeah, weird, gross.
That I completely made.
You gotta
up.
put on the fucking the dehumidifier, dude.
Yeah,
You gotta get
definitely.
the shit out of there.
No, it's muggy. It's muggy. Within seconds, the sweating night watchman was surrounded by at least 10 of these bizarre behemoths, all of various sizes. He took the smaller ones, who were just 4 to 4.5 feet in height, to be children, and noted that some of the creatures appeared to be female. These beings wore a belted jumpsuit up to their waists, so fucking pants, but that's how we describe them.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
okay.
high pants.
Yeah. I guess really billowy pants, and had a square and evidently transparent screen covering their breasts.
He saw some alien boobies.
He saw
Alien
boobs. That's how he
it's
came
so
to that
awesome
conclusion.
They take the time to put the screen, but it's clear because they have different beauty standards. They're not
Okay.
here to censor their ladies' boobs. God bless them.
I mean, they can do what they want to do. They can let them hang out. They can keep them on screens. Whatever they want to do, I'm okay with it.
They might have been magnifying glasses. They might have been.
Oh, they got like really tiny boobs.
Or
and
maybe they're
magnifying
Oh,
glass?
the
huge
boobs
boobs.
might be their eyes.
And they were anti-magnifying things that made them look reasonably proportioned.
Or the boob, like Chris said, the boobs are their eyes.
Or the boobs of the eyes.
There you
Yes, I
go.
was trying to
then
avoid
in
that. but
that
yes.
case, they wouldn't be boobs. It'd just be eyes.
Yeah, but they got glasses in their
But their
boobs because of their
nipples
eyes.
were no.
The eyes would be where the nipples are, right?
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Oh,
They were otherwise identical to the male counterparts.
okay.
At this point, the already traumatized Zanfretta was blindfolded, stripped, and forced to endure an archetypically invasive physical examination at the spoon-fingered hands of the alien captors.
Oh, it just sounds awful.
You don't want to get touched by spoon
No,
fingers, not in your
man.
private places.
yeah,
anyway.
come on. Stay out of there. For the love of God.
After which, one of the entities forced a constrictive helmet-like apparatus onto his head.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's Weapon X time.
Yeah, really. Fucking Logan. The worst Weapon X program ever.
The Watchman was in immediate agony
Oh, shit.
and begged them to remove the device. It was then that, to his eternal shock, the guttural noises emanating from the being's self-illuminated mouthpieces, while still grating to his ears, assumed the distinct form of broken yet recognizable Italian. So the helmet is a translator.
It is. Wow. All right. Shit. I called it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you said the mouthpiece was, but I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, no, it's Cerebro. Sorry. This is,
It is Cerebro.
Is it?
It's Cerebro. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
Cerebro.
Weapon X,
Yeah,
it's Cerebro.
All right. I'll give you Cerebro. Fine.
Once again, Zanfretta pleaded that they take off the helmet, but his questioner explained that he'd just have to endure the pain until he told them all that was asked of him. Zanfretta remembered asking his alien interrogator why it was that their mouths were covered with metal devices, inquiring, "Why don't you have a mouth? You get only those irons with a net which give out light." That would not be my first question, but
I mean,
okay.
But
If you're
he's
mad-
under duress.
but if you're mad, you're like, listen to your mouth.
Nice fucking mouth,
Yeah,
dude.
nice fucking mouth, dickhead. Nice metal thing in your face, asshole. How do you even pilot this thing with no mouth? Don't ask.
Don't ask.
Don't ask.
Wow.
The entity patiently explained that the mechanism enabled his species to breathe in Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere, and went on to relate that his species was known as the Dargos.
Oh, I've heard of these guys before.
Now we know their names.
know the Dargos.
Know my name. Know my name. Identify me.
There it is.
And they hailed from a planet called Titania, which was 4 times the size of the Earth and was positioned about 4,000 light years away in what they called the third galaxy.
There's a second galaxy?
There's many more, in fact.
Yeah, there's pretty
near
much
infinite amount.
I'm fucking. Well, they're in the third one.
But which one is the first?
I don't know, man. What's in the fucking 10th?
I mean,
where are we?
Who are we?
I don't
We're
know.
our own first
What are we doing?
galaxy.
That's right. I'm assuming maybe
Are we
he's
number
doing that.
one?
But
Number one.
I don't think the Milky Way is number one, at least in the Dargos perspective.
USA.
probably not.
But then
Nothing?
again, their own galaxy is the third. So they're clearly not so full of hubris that they had to make their galaxy number one. They're from the fucking third galaxy.
Because we're number one.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah.
USA. You got
Thank
me.
you. Yeah.
You got me.
America's truck. You're welcome.
Fucking. To get even more metaphysical, or perhaps merely metaphorical, the creature added, quote, "We live on Titania, a universe lost between the bright star and the falling star."
Why is there a falling
End quote.
star? What's a falling star?
I don't know.
It's like a summit's dying. Krypton?
What astronomical bodies this creature was referring to is anyone's guess, and is typical of the cryptic cosmic cartography often employed by alien abductors when attempting to explain the location of their homeworld to their increasingly befuddled human hostages. It's difficult to know if this is due to the fact that their captive audience is unable to comprehend the celestial coordinates, or if the creatures in question are intentionally trying to obfuscate their origins. So, I don't know, but what I will say is this: when I heard between the fucking falling star and the burning star, or whatever the fuck it was,
Yeah.
I couldn't help but think somewhere between a supernova and a black hole. But again, there's probody at least
That would make sense.
millions of them. I don't know. Everything in space seems like to be
But-
impossibly big.
The only problem with the first thing you say is 4,000 light years away. I'm like, I think Andromeda is the closest one to Andromeda to us.
Right.
That's
I
like
think you're right.
That's a few million light years away. I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's the hidden,
But
it's the lost universe.
Right. And then he's like, it's the lost universe between Doodly Dee and Deedly Doo, which would
It's
be
a dude who doesn't know a lot about space.
or
Yeah.
dude, maybe
Making
Could
shit
be.
up, or it's ultra-terrestrials fucking. We're going to do all this in the end.
we'll
We're going
get
to play
there.
that game at the end.
We'll get there.
Okay. Intriguingly, the Dargos admitted it had broken into the Riggy's neighbor's residence, the one with the torn-off door and broken wall, in an effort to capture some animals that it had seen inside, which the alien had assumed were alive.
You
see.
got the fucking taxidermied birds.
Zanfretta, who was unfamiliar with the case at the time, noted that the greenish behemoth was in possession of a pair of pristinely preserved, though clearly dead, birds.
Oh, he's just hanging out. He's like, look what I got.
So look, it's the control room,
Yeah,
all green
there's
and
two
icky,
birds.
and just two, like a fucking stork and a pelican, all stuffed to the gills.
You got to collect them to get the proper ending.
Dude, or they come with the Build-A-Figure and you can build Bane.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you like assemble enough taxidermy birds to like build fucking, I don't know, like the Dinobots ultimate fucking
You get MODOK. That's what you get.
Oh,
is
yeah.
the Toys R Us-
Predacons. They made Predaking.
Oh, there you go.
Predaking.
But maybe they have to collect weird. Maybe some energy source was scattered to random shit, and they had to collect these things
Oh, can you
to get
imagine?
them fucking back
And it was
to
just
the lost universe between the bright star and the fallen star. I was running out of breath. Well, yeah. So like, we need this. We need a couple ants. We need that bowling ball.
A 2x4.
We need a fucking half of a dam. We need a fucking boat. We need some grass.
Jesus.
It was like a Horcrux. It got scattered like
Yeah.
just random shit.
That makes perfect sense.
It's
It's,
like
the first thing that I've heard that makes sense.
It's like
when
a
it comes
weird
to
version of the fucking Infinity Stones. It's a real dirtbag version of the Infinity Stone.
this. Everything's dirtbag about this. Zanfretta, for his part, seemed completely uninterested in Dargos history or celestial geography.
Don't tell me your story. I don't fucking care. Get this helmet off my head, asshole.
And understandably spent the entire session begging to be released, praying that he'd be able to see his family just one more time. Clearly exasperated, his extraterrestrial inquisitor informed him that he would be returned, then ominously proclaimed that his race would soon return to Earth in even greater numbers, and that they had plans for our planet. For the time being, the creature's disturbing declaration marked the end of his abduction memories, but Zanfretta would find no peace in the coming months, as his terrible ordeals were just beginning. The first of these curses came in the form of a flurry of scoop-hungry reporters who descended on the region after getting wind of his extraordinary tale of gargantuan green monsters, flying triangles, and a security guard who'd been frightened to the point of temporary insanity. Not surprisingly, the reactions that most of these reporters had to this story ranged from polite skepticism to outright ridicule of Zanfretta and his mental state, with many flatly asserting that he was simply lying for publicity. Dicks. I mean, maybe they're right, but dicks. This incredulous attitude was shared by nearly all of the journalists, with the exception of Reno DiStefano, who had interviewed the witness, observed his hypnotic regression, and felt that the young guard was a man of candor and integrity, a perception shared by his colleagues and supervisors. DiStefano was impressed by Zanfretta's sincerity and obvious disdain for the dubious mantle of celebrity that had been thrust upon him, stating, quote, Zanfretta didn't want to become famous. He refused the notoriety because he was worried about his job and his family, end quote. And that's the fucking rub, I think, that... and I know we're going to break this down a little more. Like, you really have to question. I can see why. Listen, I understand why people are skeptical. People ought to be skeptical.
Totally.
But you really have to start assessing, like, what does this guy have to gain? What does he have to lose?
Right.
And I appreciate that Reno was definitely, trying to be an impartial observer and certainly encouraging the hypnosis. So, being an investigative journalist who is also invested in a story, but trying to, like, at least look at it from the perspective of, absurd as it is, who the fuck knows?
And he doesn't want to do any, he's not trying to get fame or notoriety. He's just like, I want to get back to my shit.
He has not had one silly thought in his fuck-sucking head.
No.
Yeah, or
Since the
strange
time he was born. Not a strange
thought,
notion.
No weird
Not an
fantasies.
idiosyncratic fucking
Nothing.
meandering.
He's a solid
no
fucking dude.
deviance, science fiction-y deviance.
Yeah, right. No
Straightforward physics.
Candor. Full of candor.
Full of candor. With the third moon of what? Okay. Just 2 days after Aldo Devoto's sighting, at 11:46 p.m. on the rain-soaked eve of December 28th, the already beleaguered Zanfretta was back on the job when he claimed to have been snatched a second time.
Oh, son of a bitch.
The nightmare never ends.
Oh, fuck.
Once again, the mayhem began as the guard drove his car through the Bargagli Tunnel near the Scofera Pass. Zanfretta, no doubt still reeling from the events of the past few weeks, was surprised by the thick wall of fog that seemed to appear in the middle of the otherwise empty tunnel. I don't know how fog works in tunnels. I don't drive through enough tunnels. I never drive in Italy. And I suppose fog can wisp into a tunnel.
Yeah, I could see
but
that.
But a wall of fog just sitting at some distance, that just doesn't...
Turn around.
Meteorologically, that doesn't make sense.
Put it in reverse.
Yeah.
Go the other way.
Especially after you've already been through what you've been through. Just get the fuck out.
Yeah, it's aliens or a heavy metal concert.
One of the two.
And in Italy, you never know. As soon as he entered the vaporous haze, the Nightwatchman was horror-struck to discover that he had suddenly lost control of his patrol car. Not because of the road conditions, but because some invisible force within the fog had literally taken command of the driving mechanism of his vehicle, which happened to be a Fiat 127. Maybe Fiat. I don't really know.
I say Fiat, but
yeah. The increasingly anxious guard immediately radioed into the operator, Attilio Mazza, and reported that his car was now driving of its own accord.
Oh, no.
Which is some shit Mazza didn't need to hear.
No.
Attilio's like, come on,
Got
dude.
fucking Herbie the Love Bug in fucking Italy. There you go.
There it is. The dismayed Zanfretta desperately tried to engage the brakes and steering wheel to no avail as his Fiat continued to barrel through the hazy drizzle. It was then that the young guard felt his car heading into a steep incline that he knew was not a part of the road that he had traveled so often. In fact, although his view was completely obscured by the fog bank that had enveloped him, Zanfretta was convinced that the auto was actually flying.
Oh, no.
So you're driving down this road you always drive down. We live in the same small town. We grew up here. And all of a sudden you're just like, the fuck no. There is no hill here.
It's
That's
vampire
not
fog.
happening.
That's what it is.
Totally.
Vampire fog?
Lost Boys fog.
There you go.
It's fucking horrible. The frantic sentry screamed into the radio that he was trapped in a cloud.
This poor guy.
He literally
Holy
said
shit.
that. The unseen force that had commandeered his vehicle seemed to be taking him high into the mountains. And about 4 minutes later, he felt a sudden jolt as his vehicle evidently reconnected with the pavement. The sentry was thrust forward by the momentum and smashed his head against the steering wheel. It was then that the car was abruptly bathed in a white-hot light.
They're back.
At this point, Zanfretta called into the dispatcher. He was no longer panicking and was now speaking in what Mazza described as a, quote, very controlled voice, end quote, almost as if his will had succumbed to the control of an outside influence. In a monotone voice, he spoke to the night operator saying, "The car has stopped. I saw a bright light. Now I am getting out."
Oh, man.
Yeah. It was then that the communication was abruptly cut off, triggering yet another full-scale rescue operation. Braving the bitter downpour and sleet-slickened roads, Zanfretta's comrades came out in force, searching all of the mountainous back roads leading into and out of the Scofera Pass region. Finally, at about 1:10 a.m., Sergeant Emmanuel Travanzoli and his partner came across Zanfretta's car parked haphazardly on the side of a narrow mountain road next to a sharp precipice. According to Travanzoli, the moment that Zanfretta saw their headlights, he burst out of a ravine near the road, sprinting away like a quote-unquote hunted wildcat.
The dude just gets out and just runs. That's
Just
it.
It's the second time
Weird. All right.
his mind is not right. And you know what?
Jump scare.
There's tons of alien abduction stories, and we've all read a bunch of them. We've all seen tons of documentaries. Our listeners surely have been exposed to almost all the same ones. I don't know if I've read any accounts where both times someone's been abducted, and spoiler alert, this isn't going to be the last, that the reaction is like pure fight or flight. And a combination of both, like sheer terror.
Yeah.
Like usually the aliens, and you know, while I might shit all over the Greys because they're fucking little tiny willowy fuck bags that I hate, at least they seem to have the decency to like help you collect your shit relatively. Like you might have like weird anxiety disorders and be fucked for a long while, but it's like a slow growing anxiety that you just have to learn to deal with.
No, this is
like,
immediate.
Panic attack.
Yeah.
Nothing but fucking adrenaline rush and terror.
I mean, it makes sense, though.
But then again, if you're as a straightforward guy as they claim he is, maybe seeing something like this might have just broke him immediately.
That's true too. It could be a distinctly.
I mean, if you're that
Zanfretta-esque
straight
reaction.
laced as people say you are, it might be the very first time you saw anything even remotely.
Yeah, you might not entertain any notions of frivolity.
Yeah.
Literally. Like you don't even believe in birthday parties, and suddenly you're like, well, fuck.
Here I am at the birthday party, and it's vampire fog, and it's fucking aliens. I flew.
As in the December 6th incident at the Riggy residence, Travanzoli and his partner were forced to chase and wrestle their nearly hysterical coworker to the ground in order to slap him back to reality.
Oh, Jesus.
That's how you do it. You man slap your friend until he's fucking, coherent again.
Yeah, it works.
Within minutes of his discovery, the isolated incline was smothered in members of the Institute of Vigilance, including Lieutenant Casiba and Raimundo Macia. If you recall, he was one of the two fellow officers that tackled him in the first incident. So, and it's also worth mentioning here, one side seems to be a sheer cliff from what I've been able to gauge. The other side is like a wooded area. The whole area is covered in fog. It's about 2,600 feet in elevation and at least 1.5 miles from the nearest village. So we're talking a really dangerous, really isolated place, especially when it's as shrouded in fucking fog as it is.
Sure.
In this, just to kind of paint a picture. To their shock, the guards noticed that despite the icy downpour, Zanfretta's clothes were bone dry and warm to the touch. Again, a repeat from the last incident.
Weird.
In fact, Travanzoli noted that his comrade's head and the top of his ears were blisteringly hot. Don't touch your friend's face, but yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Travanzoli also observed that a 10-foot semicircle of vegetation had been mysteriously displaced at the roadside next to an odd curved skid mark that had been carved into the soil. The marks had no treads and were not made by a car. was almost as if an immensely heavy object, considerably broader than the road, had landed, slid to a halt, then taken off, leaving only the telltale gouges in the ground as evidence of its existence.
Worst landing ever.
Yeah.
Just
Slide in.
I want to know. Fucking
Arc to
Tokyo
the side.
drifting.
fucking power slide into the fucking...
Do a Tariglia drift.
Yeah.
Bounce up.
There you go.
Not great drivers, maybe. Travanzoli further claimed that the fever-ridden Zanfretta was in a state of shock, quivering and weeping. This time, the men on the scene were disturbed to hear their tearful companion declare, quote, "They say I must leave with them. What about my children? I don't want to. I don't want to."
Oh, man.
All right, well, don't.
Shit.
Soon after, the military police were called in to investigate the scene, and much to their bewilderment, they found that even though the guard's Fiat had been exposed to the chilly downpour for an extended period of time, the roof of the car was as hot as one that had been baking in the scorching sun. Equally inexplicably, the officer tasked with driving the vehicle back to the Institute, Francesco Melagrana, revealed that even though the auto's heat had not been turned on, the interior of the vehicle was, quote, hot as an oven, end quote. The officers then came across Zanfretta's discarded Smith & Wesson .38 special revolver, which they found had been discharged 6 times. Amazingly, the guard could not recall at whom or what he had fired the weapon, and no bullet holes nor casings were found at the scene. But the most stunning development occurred when the military police noticed that the steaming car was surrounded by boot prints measuring 20 inches long by 8 inches wide.
Oh, we got some tracks?
Frankenstein.
Yeah, no
Holy
doubt.
shit.
These enormous prints had a huge stride and a unique bare spot between the sole and the heel, which left everyone perplexed. Even the most skeptical on that misty, wet roadside became unnerved, anxiously scanning the darkened woods surrounding them, praying that the frantic sentry was merely hallucinating and that they were not destined to be the next victims to get swept up in this bizarre phenomenon. Weird as the evening's events already were, the high strangeness was not quite finished. Casiba and Claudio Tutti, the 18-year-old son of the Institute's owner, Gianno Franco, were tasked with taking Zanfretta back to town. And no sooner had they packed the still-dazed sentry into the car and began their journey down the mountain than their vehicle mysteriously died. The officer, still on high alert, ran through the fog toward the inert vehicle, guns at the ready, but Casiba waved them off. Eager to get off the mountain without plummeting off the mist-obscured ridge, with his boss's son in the passenger seat no less, Lieutenant Casiba put his Alfa Romeo into neutral, stuck his head out the window, and began coasting down the narrow, fog-strangled road. So the car dies.
Okay.
Everyone flips out. He's like, don't worry about it. So he's trying to get down this fucking hill. He can't see an inch in front of him. There's a cliff on one side, a ditch and a forest on the other. He's got the boss's fucking teenage son
He
next
just
to him.
puts it in neutral.
A
He's like,
fucking-
fuck it.
An alien abductee, and he's hanging out the window in neutral, just fucking coasting.
Just coasting down. Yeah, that makes sense.
Ah, nice.
He's like that fucker in the Dragon Yaw thing. It was just like he kept slowing down, letting the fucking pants catch up.
Oh,
fucking doing
that's right.
whatever.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Oh, man.
It was then that Tutti noticed they were being followed by a red light. As Casiba rolled to a stop, Zanfretta broke the eerie silence by stating that, quote, they were still there watching them. Abruptly, the car started with a guttural roar, almost certainly startling the occupants, and the grateful Casiba continued on his way in as much haste as the conditions allowed.
Oh, man.
So you got fucking Creepster in the back.
Yeah, he's like, they're here.
They're watching, and then boom.
Yeah.
And it's like a bad
Yeah,
movie.
now,
moment, but you're
well, yeah,
living it.
now he's narrating
Yeah.
the scene as it unfolds.
Exactly.
It's fucking weird.
Way to go.
Yeah. The men with Zanfretta did not want to believe his terrifying tales, but the evidence that something extraordinary was happening was mounting. And as rational as Casiba and Tutti might have been, as they stared out into the inky blackness, it's almost inconceivable that, somewhere deep inside, both men weren't silently terrified that they just might see a pair of searing yellow eyes staring back at them. But as terrible as the Nightwatchman's tribulations already were, for poor Fortunato Zanfretta, his hellish ordeal was just beginning. And the more he learned about the aliens' nefarious agenda, the more he came to realize that both he and the entire human race were in truly dire straits.
Oh, there it is. Zanfretta Part 1. Chris, we made it.
Did we?
We did it.
Well, we got through part 1.
Hey, no, this is great, though. You know,
we went through
we
our
made it.
personal ordeal
That's what I
a
mean.
couple years ago. And now, you know, we reconfronted, we looked it in its eyes.
I think we all healed.
It's burning yellow eyes.
We did heal.
We all healed.
You know, I think the pandemic and other tribulations helped us get to the point where we could do this as a team. I'm proud.
You know what, guys? We did it. Good job.
We did do it.
We did. Exactly.
I mean, we read a story, but still.
Still, we made it.
We
made
listened
it,
to you tell a story.
We made it together as a team. That's what's important. That's what this podcast is about. That's what we bring to the table. Interesting part with this case is the amount of evidence that fucking is mounting with this, as you mentioned in the story. Not only do you have the eyewitnesses, you have the military and the police all being like, yeah, this shit is happening. At least you got the footprints, you got the hot car,
Hot clothes,
hot
hot car.
clothes, hot clars,
Hot pockets.
Hot cars,
hot
yep.
hot pockets, lava pockets, if you will. So there's some definite like corroboration and evidence mounting here that this guy's not just losing his shit, like something's happening to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is
and
fucking
that's what,
scary.
you know, as the, you know, tagline on Reno's book says, the most documented alien abduction in the world. I don't know about that. I think Barney and Betty Hill and a few others, like Travis Walton, might be up there, but it's certainly one of the most. And that having been said, you're right. I mean, this guy could be messed up, and it gets worse and it gets weirder, and we're going to deal with that when we come to it. But unless he's got a whole team of hosters, unless this guy, this notoriously non-imaginative, fucking workaday dude,
Totally
who's just,
unstrange.
yeah, exactly, just the most straight-laced,
No bizarre
fucking
fantasies.
dude ever. Unless he's got like a team, it's like, all right, so, you know, Billy's our tall guy, and we gave him the super boots that, you know, we had to stuff with tissue so it'll fit. He's going to do the big walk around the car. You know, Johnny, get the blow dryer, heat the roof. You know, unless he's got a team of fuckers that are trying to literally make this look like something. And then he makes himself look like an asshole time and time again in front of his boss, in front of his coworkers, humiliating himself and his family. And it does get there. And that's another thing, too. I mean, it definitely gets a lot of public shame heaped upon him. Then for no real benefit, then I can't even begin to fathom. I mean, the amount of effort it would take to do this to just look terrible makes no fucking sense to me.
If this is a super convoluted workers' comp case, I mean, goddamn, like, holy shit.
This is pretty involved.
Like, he's trying to Harvey Klinger his way out on a fucking Section 8.
He's just trying to get the fuck out of there the best he can. He's like, guys, I got an idea. I need at least 18 people to be involved. All right? Now, when I get my comp settlement, you'll each get $4, and then I'm retiring.
It's going to be great.
So, yeah,
sangria for everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, this is what's also really the fact that it happened twice, and we obviously have had cases with multiple abductions, but that you have documented 2 times and possibly more that these fucking things pop up. And
definitely.
He's both times calling dispatch.
Yeah, he's calling in immediately.
Which is
he's not waking up, not realizing something's happening.
You know, as it's happening.
Yeah, And in fact, he doesn't recall these things. I mean, this is another thing. And yes, we do know the dubious nature of hypnotic regression. We've gone down this road a lot of times.
Yeah, that could be an issue.
And we don't know whether or not he's diabetic. These are things that we definitely have to put on the table.
It could happen.
But that having been said, like, he doesn't feel like he's missing time. He remembers aliens. He remembers weird shit happening.
Right.
He's freaked the fuck out. And then through hypnotic regression, he's just like painting in some of the spaces.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, inside the ship with the fucking creepy green light and all that. But, you know, again, this could be one of those cases where you don't have to 100% believe everything that's happening, but to suggest that it is all either a lie or a hoax seems like it's an impossibility.
Yeah.
It might be some weird nether region where, you know, like, again, some weird paranormal intelligence is having at him for whatever reason or who knows what. But the footprints especially blew my mind. And the cover of the book is actually
it's literally
an outline of one of these ginormous fucking
Look
prints.
at that fucking boot, for the love of God. How would you, I mean, I guess if you got really creative, you could probably recreate that, but that doesn't seem something that's easily fucking done.
Yeah, well, you could. You could easily make a wooden pattern.
Well, I mean,
it's actually easier than you think.
You could get your super tall friend.
I.e. crop circles. But
But that having been said, to schedule it on a foggy night at the top of a mountain,
Yes.
when you're on patrol,
Right.
make sure everyone the fuck is out of there, and so no one gets busted at the scene.
Right.
You have to be hiding in the fucking ravine, just waiting for your friends to show up.
With
When they
your
show up, you're
weird
like,
boots.
"Ah!"
Yeah. No, there's
Yeah.
a lot
You're
of
running away in
shit
terror.
that you can't fake. You can't fake the fact that 50 people saw lights
Right.
like the first
You
time.
cannot. And you also can't fake this. This is interesting. No, well, maybe there's a way, but the timing it took for him going up the incline that wasn't there after he left the tunnel to landing at the mountaintop was about 4 minutes, at least according to I think Mazza, who was talking to him on the radio, and when he heard the car crash, and Zanfretta claimed he hit his head. So if that's accurate, it's interesting to note that Reno DiStefano and some other people that worked for the Institute of Vigilance made the drive the next day in bright sunlight in the middle of the day, fucking going like bats out of hell. And the quickest they could get from the tunnel to the exact place where they found Zanfretta was 8 minutes. Not foggy, not late at night, not with slippery roads. So I'm not saying that's de facto proof that he fucking flew there.
Right.
But it's interesting.
Yeah. No, that's weird.
There's a lot going on
Yeah.
that is very compelling and extremely disturbing. And it gets a hell of a lot more disturbing, especially when we start getting into, as hinted at, the alien agenda. It's weird. And again, I also love these things just from a pure monster kid standpoint. They're 9 foot fucking tall. They got fucking coke fucking nails.
Yeah, they're weird as fuck.
They've got
They're
fucking
creepy as
weird
shit,
gear
yeah.
on their face, triangle yellow eyes, dangle thorns for sideburns.
There it is.
And they've got fucking skin that moves on their skin. The worst thing you can have.
It's just gross.
It's a parasite.
That's so gross.
Your sentient tunic parasite.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
All
be
right.
out. I'm gonna be out there faking footprints from now on, since I realize I can do it now. So
Yeah. Now that Chris explained how easy.
now that I mean, God, I've spent all this time having a career and a job and shit. I can just be out there doing this shit.
That's
Fuck.
how you do it, man.
Son of a bitch. All right. Well, thank you all so very much for joining us for Zanfretta Part 1. Be sure to check back next week for Part 2. We have some announcements, some things to say here. Oh, shit. Paranormalpuzzles.com. Our buddy Jeremy Ediger has that launched, and that is paranormalpuzzles.com, as I just said. But it is a Kickstarter, which, as of this recording, is 50% funded. I'm sorry, 51% funded.
Good on him.
And these puzzles include your art, which is super dope.
Yeah.
And be sure to check that out. Support that Kickstarter. You can find the link in the description of this podcast. We'll bring you there. You can go there. You can back that. And check him out on the social medias, because he does have, I think, like promos and stuff going on for it. So be sure to check that out.
Super dope.
The social medias, the Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks, we're there. We're doing it. Shout outs to our Facebook group. We got our admins over there holding that down. It's super dope of them.
The best.
Be sure to jump in there. Check out that discussion. It's awesome. The Discord, again, that is in the Patreon, the $1 and the $5 tier. Be sure to jump in there. We will have some more Discord stuff coming up. We're kind of in the middle of working out technology.
Yeah, we did
Chris
our
had a
first
couple,
test movie night. We
yeah.
got other things that right on the horizon that are pretty
Totally.
dope.
Yeah.
Chris had a couple DOA computer situations happen, but we're good. We're back. We're running.
Slight
Everything's good.
ones.
Slight DOAs, no big deal.
Yeah.
The Heather Space, heatherspace.com. Get yourself some t-shirts. If any of your orders get messed up, by all means, contact us, and we will get a hold of TeePublic with you. We will do this together. We will figure this out.
It's a process.
It'll work.
It's
also,
a family
too,
process.
speaking of TeePublic, we actually just got notification that our rep at TeePublic, actually Jerry, who has worked with us now for a couple of years. He is, when there is issues with ordering and things, he's the guy that takes care of it, and he's very good about it. He's been an asset to us with TeePublic, as he is like our communication guy with them. He is on to bigger and better things, doing his own things. So I hate to see Jerry go, because he was always good about returning emails and getting phone calls and shit.
Well, congrats, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much for your help over all these years with everything you do for our merch. We appreciate it. And hopefully you are on to bigger and better things, and we can hopefully at some point connect in the near future to say what's up, man. I mean, I email the guy constantly, and he emails me constantly. I feel like we're breaking up, Jerry. I'm not gonna lie. Thought you were my boy. Really, I'm like, God damn it, Jerry.
Yeah,
What the fuck,
yep.
man? So there's all that. Thank you all so very much, and talking to you soon,
Goodbye.
everybody.
Goodbye, friends.
Goodbye.
Each and one. Each and one.
Yeah.
Each in one?
Each in one.
Dude, I said that you couldn't.
Is that a new
I literally declared
motto?
that you couldn't fake the fucking footprint, and then realized what the asshole I sounded like because you could clearly fake
Oh, you
that.
can fake footprint.
You're like,
But the
how do you
circumstance-
possibly fake a footprint?
When you were saying that, I'm looking at you like, the fuck is wrong? That's like the easiest thing to
Have
fake
you ever
in the
just,
history of
Jesus
faking
ever
shit.
just been talking and then you get caught up in your
just
own
can't fake a
verbal
footprint.
bullshit where you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, clearly this thing could not be faked. I'm like, I'm dumb.
Every day of my fucking life, buddy.
Sometimes-
Every fuck sucking day.
Sometimes you just start talking, you just put something in there, and you're like, that
How
makes
could
no
you?
fucking
It's
sense at
not
all.
even possible. A footprint.
Look, man, you know, it's been a long week. I spent a good portion of my week in a giant shit tank. Okay,
God
there.
bless you.
Well,
And where I came from, you can't fake footprints.
Ha!
All
There
right,
it is.
There it is.
Wow, all right.
Thank you.
Solid.
There it is. We'll be talking to you soon.
goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.